Only last week's video we discussed that New South Wales has actually not submitted their final plans to the federal government, which they did this week. Do they actually watch our videos? So in this video, we are going to discuss whatever we know regarding the New South Wales plan to bring international students back, and also I'll give you my personal opinion about this program at the end of the video. So make sure to stick around till the end. Now before we discuss about the New South Wales quarantine program, I'm just gonna give you a quick update that we have been posting a lot of useful content on our Instagram page. If you haven't been following us on Instagram, please go ahead and follow us, as we'll keep you updated with the latest news, tips and tricks, and many other things. So make sure to follow us over there as well. Now coming back to the topic, let's discuss about whatever information we have regarding this New South Wales quarantine program. So as per the latest updates, New South Wales is planning to bring around 250 international students each fortnight through a chartered flights in Sydney. So idea is to bring these international students in a chartered flights in Sydney, where they will do a 14-day mandatory quarantine in a purpose-built student accommodation, which is actually designed specifically for quarantining international students. Now, if you remember that in one of our previous videos, we discussed that New South Wales government was seeking tenders from student accommodations for international student quarantine, and they will be using one of the facilities offered by these student accommodation providers as a quarantine hub. So students will be brought into Sydney via chartered flights, so not taking a place for the Australians returning back home, and will be quarantining in a specific student built accommodation which is separate from the hotel quarantine. So that means there will be no impact of this program on Australians returning back to New South Wales. The New South Wales Health and New South Wales Police will be involved in managing this quarantine hub, but the cost of running this whole program and the security and accommodation will be paid by the universities. So the students won't be charged for the accommodation and the security side of the things. It's not sure at the moment if the universities will charge for the chartered flights that they will be flying into Australia for bringing international students. It's not clear whether that will be paid by the students or by the universities. So the program is expected to start within 6 to 8 weeks time, and at the start 250 students will be brought each fortnight. But by the end of the year, the New South Wales government is planning to bring around 500 students per fortnight. So the students they might be bringing in are from the low-risk countries at the moment, which includes students from China, Singapore, and South Korea. So students from other countries might have to wait a little bit longer in order to come back at the beginning. It is also mentioned that the students who are going to study health-related courses and students who are nearly finishing their post-graduation will be prioritized to bring back into New South Wales first. So students who are doing bachelor's degree or vocational education programs might have to wait for a little bit longer as well. Now this plan has already been approved by the New South Wales Health, and it is now forwarded to the federal government for the final approval. So we'll have to wait until we get the final approval from the federal government regarding this plan as well. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I will give you my personal opinion on this quarantine program as well. So first of all, I really appreciate the states are putting in plans in place to bring international students back into Australia. They understand and realize the importance of international education in Australian economy and the value that international students bring along with them. So that is really appreciated, and federal government actually asked them to put proposals and plans in place so they can look into those plans and then approve them. But at the moment, none of these plans have been actually approved. So we're still waiting from federal government to hear for the approvals regarding plans for Victoria, New South Wales, and South Australia. So at the moment, unless it is approved by the federal government, these plans are just plans. These plans needs to be approved by the federal government in order to start rolling out the plan to bring international students. So unless and until it's approved, as I said earlier, it is just a plan. And plan without action is just like a hope. So fingers crossed for federal government to give a green light to these programs. So the plans submitted by New South Wales, South Australia and Victoria are really detailed and comprehensive. But again, we're still waiting to hear from the federal government to give it a final tick to bring international students back. And unless and until that happens, It is just a plan. So it will be interesting to see if international students can actually come back within the time frames mentioned in these programs. So we'll wait for that time frame and we'll keep you posted on that as soon as we hear something. Now there's another update regarding the Singapore bubble that Australian government is planning to start as well. That could be a great news for international students coming from Singapore to come to Australia without worrying about quarantine and anything. And if that kicks in, that could be a possibility for reducing the number of students coming in from Singapore and increasing it from some other countries in the quarantine hubs. But that is not looking to happen for a while until and unless Australia and Singapore vaccinate most of their populations. Australia has so far vaccinated around 3% of their population, so it has a long way to go before we can start thinking about these sort of bubbles. Again, we will look forward to your comments in the comment section below. What do you think about this New South Wales plan as well? Do you think it will get an approval from federal government? Will you actually wait for the federal government to give an approval, or you're already applying for student visa in Australia? We would love to hear from you regarding that. And if you do like the video, please help us by sharing this video with some of your friends and liking the video as well. And as always, thank you for watching. See you in the next one.